What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is August 2nd of 2021. Well, folks, I hope y'all are having a fantastic day wherever you are. And in today's video, I want to spend some time to focus in solely on Ethereum and talking about why I believe in the current market dynamics that Ethereum is setting up for a major move going into the rest of 2021 as well as early 2022. Now, I not only want to be realistic with these expectations, but talk about all the different macro dynamics that are setting up Ethereum, which is, yes, the second largest cryptocurrency, to be able to outpace Bitcoin and serve as a safe but clear and optimal bet in the altcoin space. So let's go ahead and dive straight into the conversation, guys. Now, I want to go ahead and actually focus in on one market metric that I think is starting to signal all the topics that we're discussing about. And it's not so much price analysis, nor really is it its performance against Bitcoin. It's through the pure measurement of market dominance. Now, we usually look at market dominance between one of two lenses. We either look at Bitcoin dominance, or we take a look at 100 minus BTC dominance, or Bitcoin dominance, which gives us the measurement of altcoin dominance as a whole market. But I want to go ahead and focus here on Ethereum, because what I think we're seeing right now within price is very akin to what we saw back during 2017. We not only in this case have been setting higher lows throughout the year, showing confidence, much like we did back here in the previous cycle from late 2015 when Ethereum was just coming up on the surface of the market, going into 2016, and then stepping into 2017 where we had the breakout. Now, because Ethereum was coming from a lower valuation range last time, it was much more significant. There was a lot more hype and exuberance coming into the market at that time. But what's interesting is that we've been kind of coiling around a very similar dominance range here than what we saw last time, right? Even with a variety of other cryptocurrencies now that Ethereum has to compete with or outpace and maintain market share, it's been generally holding up at a resistance range we saw back here between March and May of 2017, around the 19 to 20% range for market dominance. And this showcases that this is a really critical metric we need to watch for, because we're testing around that 20% range, 1/5 of the market share going towards Ethereum. And that is a huge psychological level, because once we broke through that range, we climbed all the way up here to 32% market dominance, an over 50% increase from the previous ownership of market share. So, as we see here, taking on the short-term time frame analysis, over the last 3 weeks, we've gone from around 17% to 18.7%. And though it doesn't seem like a lot, we've been able to clear through what looks like it might be a wedge or breakout pattern for Ethereum to start garnering more and more market share. Now, as you'll see throughout the conversation, there's a lot of reasons why Ethereum is maintaining market share, and if anything, is going to continue growing market share and possibly revisit to 25%, 30%, or maybe even 35% market share. The reason being for this is because of what's going on within the market dynamics of supply and demand. Right now, when we take a look online at the Glassnode database here, we can see on-chain, and you can go confirm this for yourself, we even see it on the Ethereum website, the amount of Ethereum being staked for the eventual ETH 2.0 migration, where people are staking their Ethereum to garner some form of Ethereum yields. Now, in the long term, as we start to move towards the deployment of ETH2, this might eventually serve as a negative if people start to revoke their ETH stakes. But in the short term, we have to be candid in realizing that this is starting to dry up a lot of the Ethereum on exchanges, the Ethereum that might be able to be sold over, spot markets, OTC markets, etc. This ETH is now being deployed into a specified contract where it is not going to move, meaning that it has been bought and deposited in this contract and no one's selling it. Right? So as this number goes larger and larger, the supply starts to vanish off the market, making the supply and demand dynamics start to favor, in this case, for upward movement in price. Right? We can see here again on the Ethereum website, on the ETH2 Launchpad, you can see the staking reward over time. If you're one of the earlier participants here, the APR is much higher, and it starts to decline over time towards around 4.9 to 5% as we reach 10 million ETH staked. At the moment, we're at 6.6 million Ethereum. That's a massive change with the supply and demand dynamics here. And it's going to probably continue to grow here over time as we move closer and closer to ETH2 deployment. Now, outside of this as well, we've also got the improvement coming to the Ethereum network, EIP 1559. Now, this was originally planned to deploy in late July, but they pushed it back a couple weeks due to basically a bit of group consensus here on actually pushing and implementing EIP 1559. And as of now, it's set to become official and within one of the recent blocks that are going to be deployed on August 4th. So what this is going to entail is also, again, a reduction of supply in the market. So that every single time someone is engaging in some form of activity on the Ethereum blockchain, that there is a basically a segment of the fee, in this case, that's collected that originally would all go to miners, in this case, who are doing proof of work to, validate and reach consensus on the network. It is instead going to be going towards a burner address. It's going to be burned and taken away from the supply, which at the end of the day is going to mean we're going to have less and less supply. And in fact, with Ethereum's monetary policy, the way that it's currently working, if there is enough activity on the network, that it could actually turn ETH not only into an asset that has some form of a fixed supply, but also a truly deflationary supply, where the available ETH on the market starts to truly actually decrease rather than increase, even with staking rewards. And that's the really interesting dynamic here that we have to keep in mind. And this is coming through relatively soon, just in the next couple days. And I think these are the dynamics that are driving Ethereum not only towards having consistent support, whereas everyone again was so fearful, saying Ethereum was going to go, and some people joked about this, that it was going to go down to $1,559 before it bounced back up. So many people were calling for Ethereum to go back into 3-digit territory. Just all these doomsday scenarios. When in reality, buyers came in at a smart, consistent range here, where we saw historically was a good time to buy. And they've driven prices back up to relative highs that we haven't seen since mid-June. Price is looking great here, not only in dollar terms, right? Consistent. I mean, guys, like, you can't get better than this. You've had from July 21st consistent green days like this, right? This is very akin to what we saw back here in April, or what we saw back here in December, or back here in July. Nice consistent green streaks that signal further confidence in trend shift. But outside of this, well, take a look against Bitcoin here. Past 3 weeks here, we've been able to make some pretty big leaps and bounds. If you want to get the actual percentage here, we can take it here from back here in July 21st, and we're up around 13%, 13.5% against Bitcoin. Take a look here on the daily, right? Nice move upward here. We started to set in higher highs here relatively. And again, we've started to escape this lower bound range that we tested back here in May and June of 2021. We're starting to move upward here. Volume as well. Not bad, not good. We have to wait to see this substantiate further. But again, as we take a look here at basic price analysis between the general points of resistance, we've cleared through it. And if we take a look at the much longer trend time frame and I think more simplistic view, you can see here that we're at the midpoint of the cycle, right? We've made support at a much higher range here than any previous range of support, and it signals that the market wants more, that buyers aren't waiting to get ETH down here at 5 million Satoshis. They're not waiting to get it down here at 4 million Satoshis. They're buying it up here around 6 million Satoshis, and they're looking to push it higher back to the historic ranges we saw back here at around 12 million Satoshis and back here around 15 million Satoshis. Ethereum is showcasing dominant strength in the market. And this leads me to a very important point. If you guys have stuck around this long, I really appreciate that, because I want to drill an important point that I hope you guys take away from this video. Why am I talking about Ethereum, the second largest cryptocurrency? Is there really even a chance that Ethereum can perform that well? Well, I want to go ahead and simplify the way you can look at this. If you think that Ethereum, bare minimum, is going to be able to reach back up to its highs from January 2018, the peak of the altcoin cycle, where it did set in a lower level against Bitcoin. If you do think that it's going to reach that range, right, we're basically from this point on going to get a little bit less, unless you picked up here at the dip, like I did and many other people did. You're going to likely get around a 2 times move, basically doubling against Bitcoin in the sense of price action. Now, I know that that's not a 5x, it's not a 10x, it's not 20x, it's not 100x. And to be honest, guys, the only way you're going to get that is by basically throwing darts at a variety of different projects. And heck, maybe you land 1 or 2, or maybe a couple in this case if you're really witty. But getting a 2x against Bitcoin this late on in the sector of cryptocurrencies is actually really not that bad, especially if you're talking about protecting and preserving your capital. Because the biggest mistake that so many people make is that they get too greedy, they get too eager to try to make excess multiples, and then they end up losing it all, right? Something that is likely going to give you a potential 10x or 50x if it goes to the upside also has a very good chance of completely failing, rug pulling you, becoming zero at the end of the day if you're not wise and careful with your money. Whereas Ethereum here is the second largest crypto. It owns the DeFi ecosystem. There's no argument about it. Sure, you've got BINANCE, Smart Chain, and a few others, but it is the leading player for real adoption as well as fully scalable technology and deployment into a variety of different integrations as of recent, as we saw from ETHCCC. So again, take with it as you will, guys. I'm not saying to go all in on Ethereum, and I'm also not saying just to have a fragment of exposure. I think Ethereum is a safe bet as we go into the bull market here, the continuation of altcoins. As we go into the secondary wave, so we had the first wave here and the second wave, and last cycle, third wave here, we might very well have that secondary shoot up like we had back here in the middle of 2017. Who knows? We'll have to see. If you guys like this kind of analysis and you want to get in-depth analysis on cryptocurrency markets, a great way you guys can always support me is by checking out the link down below in the description to the Dash report, where you guys can get macro analysis on crypto, equities, commodities, and Forex markets, and even see some of my topics as well as my current percentage portfolio allocation. If these kind of things interest you guys, again, it's relatively affordable. We have it down below in the description, and it's a great way to support the channel. But even if you can't buy the Dash report, it's no worries, guys. If you can, just give a like, consider subscribing, and leave a comment down below if you agree or disagree with what we shared here in the video here today. If you see any concerns that we didn't mention or are even more optimistic than we are. So that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.